The old cabin stood silent, shrouded in the heavy air of the woods. As the sun dipped below the horizon, it cast long, eerie shadows across the clearing. Alone, miles from civilization, I regretted my impulsive decision to spend a weekend at my grandfather's abandoned cabin. The air grew colder as twilight deepened. I built a fire in the old stone fireplace, its flickering light doing little to dispel the shadows. The scent of damp wood and decay hung heavy in the air. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease, telling myself it was just the isolation getting to me. The silence of the woods pressed in on me, broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustling of leaves. Dawn broke over the forest, painting the sky a beautiful orange and purple, bringing with it a sense of relief that the creepy night was over. As the sunlight streamed through the dirty windows, the shadows of the night retreated, and the cabin felt less menacing. I stepped out onto the porch, drawing a deep breath of fresh air. The forest seemed less oppressive in the daylight, the trees no longer menacing obstacles. The silence, however, remained. Gone were the comforting sounds of birds chirping and singing. They were replaced by an unnerving stillness. I decided to explore the surrounding woods for the rest of the day, hoping that a walk would clear my head and chase away the remnants of my fear. As dusk approached, I reluctantly returned to the cabin, my earlier sense of relief replaced by a growing dread. It felt like the forest was full of unseen eyes, I was sure of it. I built a fire and attempted to eat, but the food was not appetizing. Sleep was out of the question. Then I heard it. A faint whisper, barely audible at first, coming from the far end of the cabin. My blood ran cold. I strained to hear, my heart pounding. The whisper came again, a little louder this time, a sibilant murmur that seemed to slither through the darkness. I rose from my chair, every muscle in my body tensed, and slowly made my way toward the source of the sound. I searched the storage room, but it was empty except for a few old boxes and pieces of furniture covered in dusty sheets. The whispers, I told myself, had been a trick of my imagination, a product of my fear-heightened senses. Relieved but still shaken, I returned to the main room and stoked the fire, trying to ignore the lingering feeling of unease. The next day, I tried to convince myself that the whispers had been a figment of my imagination. I chopped wood, went for another long walk, and even managed to read a few chapters of my book. But the feeling of being watched never left me, and as night approached, so did the dread once again. I grabbed the heavy iron poker from beside the fireplace, my only weapon against the unseen terror that haunted the cabin. My heart pounded in my ears as I moved from room to room, searching for the source of the whispers. They seemed to be coming from the walls themselves, slithering through the very structure of the cabin. Then, as I stood in the center of the main room, the whispers collided into a single, chilling word, uttered just behind me. I spun around, the iron poker raised above my head, ready to strike, but there was nothing there. Exhausted and terrified, I sank to the floor, the iron poker clattering uselessly beside me. A wave of cold air hit me as I opened the trapdoor, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of damp earth and something else. Something metallic and vaguely familiar. Heart pounding, I grabbed the oil lamp from the table and climbed down the rickety wooden ladder into the darkness. The passage was narrow and low-ceilinged, the air thick with the smell of decay. As my eyes adjusted to the dim light, I saw that the tunnel opened into a small, dirt-floored chamber. And there, in the center of that subterranean tomb, lay the source of the whispers that had haunted me. Bones, human bones, lay scattered across the dirt floor, picked clean and bleached white by time. A single, tarnished silver locket lay nestled amongst the skeletal remains, its delicate chain broken.